Jennifer Lindquist. I'm here at Kaleidoscope Gallery. No! He went on.
Okay, that was the intro, but I forgot my microphone, so hold please for just a moment while I look for it.
Alright, I was avoiding having you watch me grab my microphone. Sorry, Facebook. Well, hello. Alrighty, so I do have a topic for this evening, and it is my self-taught artist journey to date. You know, there's a lot of you out there who started following my page, and maybe you want to get to know me a little bit. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Pam. Awesome. I'm going to put my chat up so I can see everybody. Cool. Alrighty, so like I said, this is going to be about the self-taught artist journey, so to speak. So what makes an artist? I know there's a great debate among professional artists, what makes an artist, but I feel that being an artist is just the need to create. It's something you just can't seem to get away from, and you always need to do it. And I feel like it's always been a part of my life. I mean, we can start from childhood, where I'd be happy with a coloring book and crayons. Who else? Raise your hand. Anyway, so but my particular self-taught journey, which many of my family know who are watching. Oh, Brina wants to say hello. Come here, Brina. Hi. You're on camera. Say hello. Hi. Hi, Aunt Pam. Hi, Charlotte. Alrighty, dighty. And you are welcome to type in the chat and let me know if you can hear me okay. I plugged my microphone in. I need to be careful to not make too much noise with that. Sorry about that. Okay, so today's topic, the self-taught artist journey. So I've thought about this because whenever I read things online, it's like, you know, if you got to make your artist biography. And I'd love to say I went to art school and awesome. Thanks, Charlotte. You can hear me. That's great. But I've not been to art school, right? But I still consider myself an artist. And at some point, I'll be considering myself a professional artist when I'm old and gray, hopefully, when I've got a little bit more time on my hands. And so I was going to talk about where my journey began with art, and it's kind of a show and tell. And I hope that's okay. I kind of feel like a kid who just came home with all her art projects and wants to show her parents. So I'm going to show you a few things during this chat. And you're welcome to ask me questions as we go, or put in your 2 cents. I'd be happy to hear from you. Okay, so where my art journey began was, I would say there is a significant progression over time. So I even brought some pictures. You're going to love this. Okay, either you're going to love it and it will endear me to you, or you're going to hate it and want to leave. So as a young mom, I was always doing creative things. I sewed clothes for the girls, and was doing crafty things. And so I would consider this my actual first bout of artwork, and we will call it birthday cake art. So funny. Okay, I could never forget Cinderella. Cinderella, can you see her? There's no glare. There's a bit of a glare. Yeah, and then you can barely see this one. This is the girls when they were little, and a Winnie the Pooh cake that I made. So what was normal for me was, what was it? Oh, right. So I would paint their bedrooms and do little murals in their bedrooms. I think the first room was just hearts on the wall. The second room, and we rented, so you're not supposed to paint on the walls, but I could never help myself. I always wanted to do something on the walls, and I didn't really have money to go out and buy art, so I would buy paint. The cheapest paint I could get that was acrylics, and I'd paint on the walls. And so I did a lot of murals. Hey Diddle Diddle and the cow jumping over the moon in one of the rooms. I remember that, in their toy room when they were little. And the next house, we were still renting, and I did Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and all of those. Thanks. Charlotte says the cakes are pretty. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just going to move this chat box over. Make sure I'm getting everything through. Very good. Oh, you know what? Real quick before I continue, I'm just going to check my other streams. Make sure it's going through. All right, very good. I see it there. I'm going to try not to get feedback. Okay. Okay. Looks like it's working everywhere, so I'm just going to assume that it is. I'm going to try not to watch myself. Here we go. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure. I've had technical difficulties last week. For some reason, the stream didn't show up on YouTube, or that I could tell, and I think eventually it did end up back there. Anyway, so murals. So I did all of that painting on the walls, and you know, there was actually a time for a little while when I wanted to do murals on walls. When I was a stay-at-home mom, the kids were little, but they were starting to get a little bit older. I hadn't started working yet, but I didn't know how to go about learning it very well, or how to promote myself to do something like that. So it never happened, but I thought about it. I had wanted to do it. And I remember in high school, I always wanted to take an art class, but because I moved around a lot, I was always short credits. So I could never take the classes I really wanted. There were usually some requirements, like I had to take typing, and I took a computer programming class. You had to have typing to take computer programming, and I needed those special types of credits. And of course, I always made time for chorus. That was more important, and I don't sing anymore. But I never could seem to find the time to take the art classes. And then when I went off to college, when I started that, I actually I did some LSU TV, and then I kind of went off towards architecture, but never finished it due to family circumstances. Anyway, squirrel. So I brought you a picture. So my first picture on canvas, I actually still have it. Okay, so I had drawn this out. Can you see? Let me get back a little bit. It's Tigger, surfing Tigger. So I had drawn this out while I was working. I was at Florida Hospital Rehab. It was so many years ago. The girls were really little. And I had a big piece of paper taped to the wall next to my desk. And I drew on it while I was on hold. Because I really didn't have anything else that I needed to be doing. I was on hold a lot with insurance companies. And so I drew out Tigger while I was there. I got him completed. And then I actually took him to a surf shop to have him put on my board. And they said, well, you need to finish it first. And I was like, I think it is finished, but I never did get it put on my board. But then I ended up just putting it on a canvas and hanging it up in my house, and he's adorable. Copyright. Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell Disney. Anyway, he's super cute. So that was my first painting. I think after that I even did some paintings on clothes to sell on eBay, which did not work. And then after that, I wanted to do this great big mural of sea turtles on my apartment wall. But I knew that that was a really bad idea because it was an apartment. I didn't know how long I was going to be there. It's not like a house. And the painting that I wanted to do was going to be huge. So this was my first closer to realistic, uncartoony painting, and I still have it. These are my baby sea turtles. See, aren't they adorable? And I did this from a picture I found online that is a public image. And so this is the very first time I actually started really thinking about artwork. And I think, was it this one? I may have looked up Bob Ross clouds to get this because I was struggling. I struggled a little bit with the waves. It's funny, you see waves all the time, but when you have to go and paint them, then suddenly you don't know what waves look like. So I did struggle with that just a little bit. But this was fun. So this is my very first. Look at the turtles. Aren't they cute? I would love to redo this painting. But I need to make sure that that's one that I can. I'm tangled in my microphone. Oh, brother. Hello. Alrighty. And let's see. All right, so that was the second painting that I did, but that's an example of the first time I was really working towards something and using photographs that other people took as something that I would try to paint from, right? So there's already good color and good composition, and I can see that in the picture, and I want to recreate it. So that was the first example of that. And then I created the sea turtle for my house, right? And I took that from an image online, and I want to say that it's one of the free no license images. I've never sold it. It's my personal image. I painted it for myself. It will never be sold, although people ask. And Steve keeps telling me to take it to shows, but I will show you. Most of you have seen it, but if you haven't, there's my beautiful sea turtle. I love him. He's my friend. And now that I see him, this is before I knew anything about hanging. There's no hanging hardware, and now I know how to install hanging hardware, so I guess I need to do that. But that explains why he's always crooked on my wall. Anyway, so this was the first time that I was taking an image and just kind of making it my own, not really trying to recreate like the turtles I was trying to recreate exactly. And with this one, I wanted to get the look of the turtle, but I wasn't worried about making a realistic turtle. I was just getting lines and trying to get the depth. And I really liked the color, and I worked on water. And water is really hard when you don't know how to paint it. So that's kind of the next step in my art journey was, love the sea turtle painting, thanks, was when I would get kind of stumped on something, I would look up how to paint something, right? So with the first one, it was the clouds. And with the second one, it was painting water, how to get like a flowing water shape. And I did watch a couple of painting videos on that to get an idea of how to do it. And then you kind of take it and make it your own. Now, painting the rest of the turtle, including the rays and the flecks of the water, that was all me. I didn't look up how to do that. It's just kind of what I saw, painting it to make it look, get the strong contrast so it looks like light in the water. So that's self-taught. But at the same time, self-taught journey also requires that we learn from others, right? So I didn't go to college for this, and I would love to, but this just probably not going to happen at this point. So I learn where I can, and let's see, light and composition, right? So working on this, and actually not even a video, but a book that I read, White Oleander. If you've never read it, it's a really good book. And the person who's basically narrating the book from the first person, she's an artist, and she talks about how she sees things, how she sees light, how she notices the trees, and like from an artist point of view. And I'm like, I never really thought about that. Looking at things differently, looking at things intentionally to see, how would I paint that? Oh, I didn't realize that the colors of the leaves aren't all dark green. There's flecks of yellow, you might see some white in there. You can kind of start to see the different shades, and just trying to make mental notes, right? What does stuff really look at? Because when you try to put pen or pencil to paper and paint what you think something looks like, you'd be surprised that it doesn't look right? I can't seem to get the perspective just right, because it's not what your brain is trying to create, or isn't always exactly what you see. So that takes a lot of practice, and it starts with thinking differently when you're looking at something to help you get the perspective right. So let's see, I did those two, and all right, I'm going to show you one more. Okay, there's more than just one more. So this was the one that got me thinking, I think I want to start showing my artwork. I think you've seen it. If you've had the house tour, I fell in the driveway this weekend on my shoulder, so I can't pick this up. So I'm going to do my other arm. I'm okay. Fell on my shoulder. It's fun stuff. Right, so the way I would paint, especially at this point, was I would do a section, and then I'd walk away from it for a few weeks and think about how to do the next section. Who else does that? If you're an artist, or if there's something you're thinking about, a project you're trying to put together, sometimes it helps to step away from it for a while and then come back to it. And this was, I did that with the turtle, but this seemed more excessive. I must have thought for a good month on how to do the rocks, because I wanted them to look like rocks, and I wanted them to have really nice texture and color. And I know what rocks look like, but I can't really. I took a picture, and I kind of edited. I put two pictures together. So this exact view you won't see out there, but I took two pictures that I took together to make this. But it took a lot of intentional thinking to figure out how I was going to create all of this. And it was really when I did the wood grain. You can see the wood grain there. I was like, holy cow, I can do this. I can do this. Oh. And that was kind of an exciting moment for me. And I think we all kind of come to that point if we decide that we want to show or sell, or we realize that we're actually good at something. I always felt like I was never really great at anything, like I didn't have a talent. And sometimes we don't realize that we have a talent, or in order to have that talent be obvious, you actually need to work at it and try. And I had been painting more and more up to this point, and that's exactly what it was. It was practice, trying something new, not being afraid. I had no intention of showing anybody. It was for my house. I was doing it for myself. And that worked really, really well. Thanks, Charlotte. I feel like, there we go. All right, I wasn't sure if anything was coming through from YouTube in the chat, but there's probably nobody there yet. Okay, So anyway, that was the first example of me taking my own photos and creating a composition. And at that time, I wasn't really thinking of composition in terms of art and drawing your eye around the canvas. I have to be honest, I was very naive about the art process and how you do um, create a composition to kind of draw viewers in. I had no idea. And oh, I don't have the other painting because it's sold. So, oh, another example of taking photos to create an original composition was my salty shower girl here in the back. So I took a picture at the beach, and then I took my daughter out back and we took pictures and we created the composition from mixing the photos together. And I was very intentional on where the focal point was, and at this time I had never considered I need a focal point. So what happened before this is I went to, hi Stacy, hello, yeah, I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name correctly. Oh, anyway, so I was just talking about the process of my artwork and how I was pulling pictures together to create a composition. So if you want to talk about someone who's been, you know, interested in showing her work, so the first year of me showing my artwork, I was really learning some things that I was completely ignorant of, right? Composition. And so I was showing at Kaleidoscope Gallery here in Longwood, and Zill, who runs the gallery, was mentioning something. She always comments about the paintings, and I had this really big wave painting, and it had a lot of paint fleck colors throughout it. And she commented on the contrast of color, and I always make a mental note, right? Because she's an artist and I was just starting to show my stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I would make a mental note of anything that she would say. And I noticed when I took that painting out to art shows, people would just stand in front of it and they're just like, oh. Wow. And I didn't understand what the draw was, because when I painted the painting, I gotta be honest with you, I didn't love it because I couldn't get it exactly the way I wanted the first time, and I had to go in and fix some things, and I felt like it kind of messed it up a little bit, but it actually added more texture and more interest. But it was something about the way the painting curled around, and it just kind of drew you in, and where the focal point was. And I didn't do it on purpose, it just kind of happened. So I spent a lot of time that first year trying to understand why that painting in particular was drawing people in. And if I put that painting where someone could see it outside my tent or in the back of my tent, they would come. Show this painting and they will come. It's gone now, so I don't have it to draw people in anymore. But so I learned about that, and then I started watching Stefan Bowman. I don't know if you're familiar with him. If you're an artist, maybe you are. And he was less about teaching you paint strokes and more about helping you understand how to see something and how to paint what you see. He'd be like, paint what you see, don't paint what you see. And I understood exactly what he meant when he said it, because I had spent some time thinking about it. But he really got me thinking about composition and focal point, and how important it is to know what your focal point is going to be before you start, and to work on your composition. But don't let it, like, if you don't come up with a great composition, that's okay. Just get it all figured out. It's not the end of the world, right? I mean, it's important, and sometimes it turns out better than others. So I think that really helped me get a better grasp on my artwork and helped me understand what draws the eye around the painting and holds people's interest. And it's been a great year learning all this stuff. Okay, so, and the last thing, I think I've touched all the points that I wanted to touch except for one. So As an artist, as a self-taught artist, one of the things that really has helped me has been taking on commissions. And if you're not familiar with commissions, maybe Charlotte, you don't know, I don't know. If someone tells me that they would like me to paint something for them, and I agree, it's not, maybe not something I normally do. It's not necessarily just repainting a painting, it's usually a new scene. And a lot of times I'll say, look, I can paint your commission, or I can do this for you, but it's going to be in my style, and I want you to take a really good look at what I do so that you can decide if this is right for you. And I've done several commissions. I did, my first one was for my hairstylist, Julie, and she loves it. Hi, JP. It's good to see you. And that is still one of my favorite commissions ever. It's so pretty. And she actually picked the color of the sky, and she picked kind of the colors of the water that she wanted, and she left the rest up to me, which was great. So it gave me an opportunity to be an artist by, you know, picking out the composition. I knew what she wanted. And I have a girlfriend who also commissioned some paintings, and I've had some paintings commissioned from my shows. But the toughest one to date is this one. Show and tell. Okay, can you see? There we go. All right, so this was the first portrait painting that I've ever done. And granted, you know, it looks like I don't do them all the time, but I would never have done this if I hadn't been asked to do it for a gift. And I have to tell you, this was such a struggle. And it took me a long time. I took my time, but I didn't, you know, I had a timeline, so, which was good because it might have taken me a year if I didn't have a timeline. But this one really pushed me outside my comfort zone, and I feel like an accomplished painter now. I feel like, you know, I can pretty much do anything. That may not be true, but it feels true. So I have a little bit more confidence going into things. And I did it at a decent speed, whereas, you know, before a painting would have taken me months to complete because I was not sure of what I would do to create a certain effect. And now, weeks, maybe days if I actually had all day to paint, which I don't. But that's the artist journey. That's up to now. And I just wanted to share that with you. This is the self-taught artist journey of Jen. And it's been a lot of fun so far, and it's not over yet. I am going to continue painting, and I'm going to continue learning. And as a matter of fact, I go to Sketch Club as often as I can. It's not a lot, but that's really helped me get my Surfer Girls looking really great. And I actually take an oil painting class, which I'm learning how to use oil paints, no particular strokes, and I'm getting better. It's not great. It's not great. Anyway, so if you guys just came on, this is a 20 to 30 minute chat that I'm doing on Sundays. I won't be here next Sunday because I have a wedding, and I didn't realize that when I scheduled the 8 weeks. So instead of eliminating a week, I'm just going to bump it. And I'm thinking about doing a Saturday chat or a Monday chat in place. So if you would prefer something like that, let me know. If you'd like to see this entire video from the beginning, you are welcome to wait for it to complete loading and then go back and watch from the very beginning. Anyway, I think I'm going to be doing some light painting tonight, but I want to go visit my mom real quick first. And then I'm going to start scheduling Monday night art sessions, whether it's just sketching or if it's painting. But I wanted to get something else on the schedule besides Sundays, and that will only be shown on Twitch. I will not be doing that on YouTube as of yet, unless I feel like that ends up being a good place for it. So anyway, so that's the plan for right now. Mm, that's kind of weird, the thing that popped in my chat. Anyway, hello, mocap. So like I was saying, Monday nights I'm going to start either sketching or painting. I've got my little setup, I think, figured out up to a point. There's still some learning to do with the live streaming. It's a challenge, but I'm learning as much as I can, and I'm going to keep it basic. Hello, Slide Rails. It's nice to meet you. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm not going to drag this on forever, but I hope to see you. I won't see you next Sunday. I may film something and post it just for the heck of posting it to keep some consistency, but it would be pre-recorded. I haven't decided. But if you want to do either Saturday or Monday, if you have a preference, I can do a chat then. Otherwise, we'll just skip next week and move on to the following, because I will not be here to do a live chat next Sunday. And so far, I've enjoyed this. I got to be honest, coming up with topics is more of a challenge than I expected, because I'm still trying to figure out if it's artists that are coming into my chat, if it's going to be family coming into my chat, other people who've seen me out at shows. So if you're here, I'd love to know how you heard about me and what your interest is in this channel. And I will see you next time. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. Bye, beach lovers.